Hello, my name is James Forster. I'm the Oats Trader here at ADM, and today I'm going to talk to you about spring oats, some of the things to consider when planting spring oats, and also some of the potential ways you can market them. So, the spring drilling campaign is soon to begin, and ahead of this, there are a few things that I thought would be useful to talk to you about ahead of that time frame. The spring drilling campaign of spring oats is soon to begin, and therefore, with that in mind, there are a few things that I wanted to touch on, which came about as a result of a webinar that we did last spring, which was in conjunction with Richardson Milling. I'm not going to go into the full details of that webinar, as that is a very in-depth conversation, but what I would like to raise is the key summaries of that meeting. The key things are looking at the agronomics. Now, the recommendations from Richardson's agronomy manager, Bryn Hughes, is that spring oats should be drilled by the middle of February. There are a number of benefits for this, but in principle, it's how you can best realize high yield and good quality. A second thing is to consider the seed rate. And the recommendation is that you should be applying between 200 and 300 seeds per meter squared, as this gives the oats the best opportunity to fill out. And finally is nitrogen application. Many of you may be thinking that oats are a crop that you don't have to apply much nitrogen to, and therefore they're cheap to grow. However, it has been shown that through good nitrogen application, you could potentially increase your yield by about a ton a hectare. The timing of this is crucial, and it is recommended that 70% is already in the seed bed, and then a final 30% is at growth stage 30. So that overall picture of nitrogen application needs obviously to be considered amongst your advice from your agronomist, and some of the drilling dates, etc., can vary depending on how far north you go up into the country, and obviously could be slightly earlier if you're much more towards the south. But in principle, you want to get the grain in by the middle of February. Now, you may be asking why this is important, and there are two main reasons really for this. Fundamentally, the better quality that you produce means that you can get better price. The differential between feed and milling is significant, and therefore, if you can maximize achieving a milling quality, all the better. But also it means that you could potentially reduce any impact on claims. But finally, the reason this is important is it gives you an increased marketability. For export grades, you need to be achieving 52 kilos per hectare. So therefore, if you can maximize getting specific weights at this level or above, it's going to give you more access to wider markets. Big topic at the moment, glyphosate applications. Glyphosate is something that was banned to be used as a desiccant of oats into the EU as of July of this year, and therefore the strong recommendation is that you do not apply glyphosate to your crops. If you do, it means that you are going to be relying on either merchants like ourselves accessing third country markets for exports, which is challenging given the competition, or we have to supply these oats into the EU-UK market. Therefore, by doing so, you are limiting your price potential and therefore potentially getting lower prices. So you've drilled the oats. What are your options in terms of marketing? Well, there are two main options really in terms of forward contracts. The first one is one that is linked to the wheat futures market. This is something that I've touched on in my previous oat presentation video, and it's something that isn't for everyone. It has high risk involved in terms of defaults because it is a defaultable contract. And the second one is the ADM marketing pool. Now, here at ADM, we've over the last 3 years been able to achieve a price that is over 4% over and above the market, open market. And this year, the harvest pool paid out a price just over £198 a tonne. There are a lot of good positives around the oat marketing pool. It's due to flexibility, downgrading, produce of area, cash, etc. So if you are interested in that, then I would highly recommend you speak to your ADM farm trader to gain more information about this as a marketing option, but also to gain access to seed, which we have available to us, but also a link to the webinar that we did last year that I would highly recommend you looking at, because it will give you a lot of insight, which is very, very valuable. So without any further to do, I would say thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.